these guys. So, in my rare experience, having not known what the publisher did actually helped me. Because if I had seen what they were doing, I probably would not have submitted to them, because I thought, oh, they just want shapely, sexy girls, and they're never going to look at my Akiko story, so I better not show it to them. Well, thank goodness I did show it to them, because they were looking to diversify and get an all-ages title of some kind. And that's how I got my gig with Sirius. And I finally now have maybe brought you back to the beginning of the story of how I got into comics, and eventually into children's books, and then finally back into comics by way of manga. Oh, thank you so much. Feel free to fire away with questions if you have any. I want to make sure that my talk is guided by you and what you want to hear me talk about. But I thought I could take a moment to tell you a little bit about my one of my characters that I created for the series Akiko. A guy by the name of Spuckler. Get some knowing chuckles here. People always ask me, where do you get your names? How do you come up with the names? And happily with Spuckler, I have a nice, clean, clear-cut answer. The name Spuckler comes from the word swashbuckler, because I wanted him to be like a dun-dun-dun-dun kind of a character. And so I thought, well, I'll just call him Spuckler. Funny thing is, a few years ago, I got an email from a woman named Karen Spuckler.
Kidding.
This has happened periodically. How did you know about my family's name or whatever like that? I didn't. And it's happened over and over. And actually, I think I came across the other day my original inspiration for the name Mr. Biba, which I conveniently forgot for years. And I was telling people that it was based on this high school teacher that I had named Mr. Bila, which it may have been a bit. But I was reading the biography of E.M. Forster, and in the book Room with a View, there is a character named Mr. Beebe. And I'm pretty sure, without realizing it, that's where that name came from, because it's so close. And I do remember enjoying both the film and the book Room with a View. So sometimes you invent a name, other times you steal it from great authors like E.M. Forster. Let me tell you about Spuckler, and I'll just draw a picture of him real quickly. Spuckler is one of the more popular characters that I've created. I wanted to have a kind of a heroic character, someone who would be strong, fearless. I always tell people that Spuckler is not scared of anything because he's not smart enough to be scared of anything. You gotta have a few screws loose to go leaping into the middle of action the way he does. And when I first drew him, he had this sort of clean-cut look, and I thought, oh, I don't know, that's so boring. He looks a little like Superman. He looks too much like a goody two-shoes, Dudley Do-Right kind of character. And I thought, let's make him a little edgier. And so I added these lines, classic, unshaven thing. And as soon as I did that, something started to happen with Spuckler, and I started to get a clearer idea of who he really is. And he became this kind of wild man, you know. And I figured, well, if he doesn't shave, he probably also doesn't comb his hair. So I started to give him this crazy hair. Now, the funny thing, if you look at the comic, I don't know if it's still going around, but the way I used to draw Spuckler, he was considerably uglier looking than this. He was very, he had kind of a lumpy face, yeah. And little by little, he started to get a little more handsome on me. And I did a comic strip one time. I don't know if you guys would have seen it. I remember that one, yeah. He had changed so much that I had the new Spuckler opens his door one day, and the old Spuckler has come to his door, confronting him with how drastically different he looked.